Welcome to Ideas All Day, a podcast where we, not experts, discuss ideas. And then we put them into piles, such as a good ideas pile, or a bad ideas pile. Let's do some intros. First, the person who finds all of the clues, Ajax.
I do.
Next, the person who solves all the puzzles, Alex.
Like pie.
Lastly, the person who checks all the pockets by wearing the clothing, me, Kate. Hi. Two boys. Ajax, why don't you discuss what our topic is this week?
Our topic today is escape rooms.
Puzzles.
Actually, I think I probably just talked about escape rooms in my mind in terms of escape rooms because it could all technically be a puzzle if you really think about it, like really deeply. It could be
like life could be a puzzle.
Whoa, it's a puzzle no matter what you think. Can you escape it?
Can you escape life? So we have attended some escape rooms, more than people who have attended none, but less than people who have attended like the conferences. We each have our own little lane that we're good at. And as our intro stated, Ajax is uncannily good at just finding random clues whenever they're just scattered about, even when you're not supposed to find them yet.
I like random clues.
You have a nose for it.
Yes.
Alex is our cipher. He can solve most of the puzzles. And I usually am really good at putting on clothing, getting in the mood and into the theme of the room, and then forcing myself to unlock locks that people have solved for me. So I'm that person.
The most necessary
Yeah,
person.
she's the leader of the group usually, is what she's saying.
I am the leader of the group.
She is the leader of the group.
By saying, hey, what was that code? Okay, I'm going to unlock this padlock because you gave me the code. Look at me. I just solved this puzzle.
And then she'll
So
go,
you're
I
winner.
solved it, or we did it, even though she was just standing there looking at stuff.
Very much we did it.
Yes.
It's a very we atmosphere when I'm in an escape room.
So we.
But also one that yells if we're not doing well.
And the one who often goes, should we get a clue? We should get a clue. We're running out of time. We should get a clue. We should ask for a clue. Should we get a clue? Guys, I think it's time to get a clue.
All right, we're walking into the room. Should we get a clue?
Oh my God.
All right.
This
What
is
are
a
all
room.
the clues?
We should get a clue. And like Ajax has already pulled out 6 clues. Let's get down to it. All right, Alex. Hit us with your
What are your ideas?
With your ideas.
All right. When I was coming up with these ideas, I tend to think of a theme for some reason, and that triggered what puzzles would fit into that theme. So the first one that came into my mind, literally when we announced this topic discussed, was a Ghostbusters theme room, where you're like in a haunted house, but you're a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
But my thought of a puzzle was using like the EKG meter they got, where they have it's a little like handheld device with the little TV box and the little rabbit ears that go up.
Wait, is this the thing that you throw to catch the
No, that's the trap.
Okay.
The meter is where like they're using it to detect
EMF
ghosts.
detector. Yeah,
EMF. Whatever it is called.
Electromagnetic frequency.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my EKG because I like it better.
That's like a heart monitor, isn't it?
I don't care. I'm still going to call it the EKG meter. So the EKG meter, essentially what it would be is just part of it was if you find this device, you have to use it to find where the ghosts are. And the ghosts are, these certain helpful ghosts are leaving clues. So it helps you using either a radio frequency or magnets that would help, like, as you get closer, you get more, the frequency would get higher, the rabbit ears or something on the device lights up so you would find it. But I just think it really fits with the Ghostbusters theme, like that kind of to really not only still be a puzzle to kind of find the things, but to get in the mood of it. Because, I mean, you can go to an escape room and find all these puzzles, but they don't suck you into it. And I want something that sucks you into like that kind of theme. And I think that would do it. My second one is something I've never seen, but specifically logic puzzles that are voice-based, where you may listen to a recording to try and find clues. You would listen to these people talking and to try and find out each one if they are lying, if they're telling the truth, if there's something in there where you could go check somewhere within the room itself. I want something where it's almost like a courtroom theme is where I came up with this, or where you're trying to catch who the killer is, who's the one who locked you in the room, but you have the recordings of the suspect. You're like a prosecutor and you've been captured by the one you're trying to find or something like that. But I like the idea where you have to listen to people talk to try and catch that doesn't make sense. And that's kind of that clue you need to make it to the next step. Another one that I thought, really not theme-based, but this one I kind of came up with is literally I want a puzzle, probably like a simple combination puzzle, nothing fancy, like where you just have like a pick numbers for a lock, but I want it where literally your final puzzle is something staring you in the face right when you walk through the door. And the role is you have to decipher every single digit within like a 10-digit puzzle. I could literally walk in the door and start working on that puzzle right now. It would be near impossible if you're doing 9 or 10 digits. It'd be like 10 million digits, a possible combination. So there's no way to do it. But part of your task would be to find what digit it is or what location on that combination it is. And your goal is to solve that puzzle to get out of the room. But you can technically solve it if you have enough clues or good enough at guessing at any point in time. Rather than like a keypad you get for a door, everyone knows about those. I want something that's thematic, it works for the room, but it stares you right in the face, clear as day, right there. The goal is to solve this one puzzle, and everything else you do in the room is centered around that.
Okay, so as soon as you walk in a room, you see the puzzle you have to solve, and then to get the answer to solve the puzzle is all the clues within the room.
Basically, it's almost like you walk into your room, and it's actually a safe you have to get into. Think of it like that.
Okay.
Might be a better way of putting it. But
so
the
like
puzzles,
a bank heist, an art heist,
something like
any
that,
kind of a heisty theme would fit into that puzzle.
Yeah, you go heisty, or it's like, oh, there's a secret room, but you got to get into it. You need these codes. It's like prominently displayed right from moment one, and you could literally spend the entire time just working on that if you wanted to. But it'd be near impossible to do it. And other than that, my fourth idea, I just kind of want something with simplified safe cracking. When you watch the movies and you have the one safe cracker with the stethoscope and he's turning the knobs, but something like that where you get to kind of experience what it's like to be a safe cracker for a puzzle, just to try it. Just to kind of get that, oh, I heard the click, and we'll spin it the other direction. Just to kind of get that little bit of a high in there. To have that, experience. Make it one of those puzzles. That was my 4 puzzle ideas.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, cool. Your first was the EMF detector with the
EKG.
Ghostbusters theme. Your EKG.
EKG machine.
It's like yeah, well, I like Ghostbusters and I like ghost hunting, so this was a good idea if it was an EMF detector to make it more accurate, but no. EKG, fail, idea.
Like she's like, fail, but it's still in the ideas pile.
It's an idea, but it's terrible, and I hate it. Unless you exchange 2 letters out, and then which ways it is amazing, and I love it.
Exactly. Don't you know how I operate? Jeez, Alex.
You guys are getting way too personal about these things.
Seriously, you're personal, like your face.
Your face is personal.
Your face is the most personal ever.
I'm taking this very personally right now.
I can tell by your face.
Yep.
Okay, your next one was a logic puzzle that was voice-based.
Voice-based, yeah.
Yeah, with a courtroom theme. So it's a good idea. I like it. It's a good idea because a lot of times
I thought you sounded like you didn't like it. It's like there's a lot of mixed emotions here. It's an idea.
Well,
I like it.
Okay,
I like it.
I do have mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
Usually when you get those little words that the people are taking in the video, they're like just setting the theme, and there's very few that actually have like an actual clue in there, which I'm always waiting for, but it never happens. So it's kind of like, eh. So I agree. I feel like that's a good idea to actually make the words that they're saying in the beginning of their little spiel on the camera.
You're talking about the beginning.
I'm not talking about the beginning. I'm talking about
you
find, like, you could have tapes that you find, and you have a tape recorder or tape player there, and you have to listen to those tapes to find the clues. It's still in the same thing, but again, it's not just background. There is substance to it. There's a meaning while you're listening to it.
No, I like that. That's fine.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I like those both ideas then, so they both fall in a good idea.
I mean, I wish the little setting they do is better, but
Okay, I'm just going off of my experience. I think.
Oh, absolutely, I'm 100%. The fluff in the beginning is like, I want to stop. I want to get started.
Exactly. Give me something real. Yeah. All right. So the combination puzzle is something when you walk through the door, you know what your goal is. I mean, I like that. You want to see what your ultimate goal is in the beginning. So you're like, I know I want to open this, and I can't open this yet until I figure out how to open it. I feel like that's an interesting setting because I haven't really ever gotten that visual in terms of other escape rooms. You know exactly what you're supposed to do when you walk through that door.
Yeah. I want something else you're looking at besides the clock that's like staring you in the face.
Yeah, I like that too.
And it to be an actual puzzle itself.
Okay, yes. So that's another good idea in my good idea pile. Simplified safe cracking. Make sure it's doable for a normal person.
Yeah. No, this isn't like real safe cracking.
I think it's an idea.
Okay.
Putting in the ideas pile.
Correct.
Okay. So for your Ghostbuster EMF meter,
EKG.
I really do like this. I think this is very creative. I would love to go to a Ghostbuster themed escape room. I'm going to put this in the good ideas pile. Logic puzzle where you listen to a recording to figure out more clues or, to figure out what's going on. I know a lot of video games utilize this for puzzles within video games, so I could totally see it being usable in a escape room. Put that in a good ideas pile. I would enjoy a puzzle like that. Ajax's addition to it being like a clue in the beginning of that little intro video, because a lot of escape rooms I've been have like, okay, we're going to put you in this room and you have to listen to this video and watch this video. And it just gives you background information about like, oh, so you're a spy and you've been dropped behind enemy lines and you were caught. And now the colonel's trying to get a hold of you. So you have to find a way to get into the system and hack your way into the mainframe and send out an SOS. Yeah, we all know. We read the description before we got there.
Yeah, that's the theme of the room.
So it'd be really nice if they had a piece in there that wasn't like an obvious clue, but when you needed it, you would be like, didn't that guy say something about like, make sure your tie's tied? Or wasn't that something the bad guy said in the video before we got locked in here? It would be nice to have like a little tie-in. Like, I always feel bad for those people who make those videos because there's a lot of like production involved in some of them. Like it's like high production value, and
it's like the screen is shaking because something's attacking them, and you gotta act.
People get hired, actors are put in makeup chairs. It would be nice if it was actually something useful to get you out of the room. I would put that in the good ideas. So that's like a bonus one for Ajax. Congratulations, Ajax.
What did I do?
You're right. I'll take credit for it. Thanks.
All right, never mind. Way to go, Alex. Good suggestion.
Thank you.
The simple combination, staring you at the face as soon as you get in, it's an idea. I would like to do that escape room. So to have it where it's right in front of you and everything you need is in the room, I don't know. It kind of sounds more doable. More like, okay, it's here. We got to just find it, which then I would just be like, Ajax, go. I'll put it in the ideas pile leaning towards good.
Okay.
The simplified crack safe. Safe cracker.
Safe cracker.
Yeah, I would like this. I've been in certain escape rooms where I had to use skills that I never had before, and it was like kind of neat. I had to use like Morse code, which was, kind of fun, trying to figure out how to do dash, long, short, all that fun stuff. I would like to see an escape room where you had to manually pick a lock. I think that would be really cool too. Not like safe cracking, but here's a bunch of wires and you got to unlock this lock without a key.
That's badass.
Or like a half a key and you got to like try to jimmy it. But I can see where in like escape rooms that would be a problem because then you would have people forcing open locks and damaging equipment and things like that. But yeah, for the simplified safe cracker, I would like to do that. So I'll put it in the good ideas pile. So that's my pilings.
So, as we've said before, I really like to find things in rooms. I like to randomly find things. Like, oh, look, a random clue. Oh, I found it. Sweet. The kind of ideas that I like are the ones that are like old-timey, where you have to like turn the candlestick in order to get into something else in an escape room. Or like if you have to like move the book backwards or like pull a book out and then the door flips around. Those are the kind of clues that I like for puzzles in an escape room. Just where like a physical object, you do one thing to manipulate it and then it does something else that you're not expecting. So I like those surprise types of puzzles. A surprise puzzle. And then, so my second idea is a mousetrap puzzle. So pretty like life-size version of Mousetrap where you're building something, but you don't really know what you're building.
Like the board game Mousetrap?
Like the board game Mousetrap. But then at the end you build something. You're building a monster device and you don't really know what you're building because you're not given that clue, but you're building it really good. And then at the end it magically captures you. So it's basically in an escape room that you can't escape, that you end in not escaping because you're trapped.
The object of the room is to trap yourself in the escape room.
Exactly.
That's the ending, not the object. No,
So
I think of it like Da Vinci left these plans for designs for a machine, but we don't know the purpose of it, and you have to find the designs and the pieces and figure out how to put them all together. The
then you
ending
don't know
is
what the invention is, and then it gets
exactly.
you.
That's the whole point. You're trying to figure it out.
Sneak ending. What?
Sneak ending.
So then my third one is I went themey on this one, and within the theme. So
your boyfriend actually had a idea for a puzzle piece.
Yeah, because I told him my theme for the escape room, which is a Saw themed escape room, which I mean is as realistic as you possibly can get, but that's pretty expensive. So this is somebody that's got a lot of funding in order to do an escape room, like super 3D effects where you have to like go into a fake body to find a puzzle piece to get into the next one to make it like super uber realistic. And then the person that introduces the escape room, like when you first get into
the employee that actually helps you.
Yeah. The employee is like a sneaky pickpocket that can actually plant a key on somebody. So later on, one of the puzzles can be like in the storyline, one of you has got a key planted on you, and then you have somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I've got a key in my pocket. That kind of escape room. That's the thought. That's the idea. My neighbor, she mentioned the little doll on the bicycle that if this is a Saw theme one, he has to be in it.
Yeah, I believe Universal Studios actually did a high-end production version of a Saw-themed escape room. So I do know that exists, and it usually exists during like Halloween season.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it was just the thought.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that through all the ideas that we have discussed on this podcast, there's bound to be some people who have had the same idea as us. So old-timey puzzles, I do enjoy a good old-timey puzzle where if it's just like a secret room or it just brings me into like a movie verse where Batman just had to hit a few keys on a piano for a trapdoor to open so he can go into the Batcave, or Addams Family where they pulled the book and it opened a secret room. So I like that. So yeah, I would say it's a good idea to incorporate something like that as long as there is a good clue that points you into that direction. There's nothing more frustrating than searching a whole room high and low regarding a secret entrance or a secret door and it's not obvious by the clue. And that's just me personally. Some escape room people might prefer where you're just dumped into a room with no clues and you have to figure it all out. But
that's where difficulty comes into it.
Yeah.
If you want high difficulty, you're expecting that kind of, you're not going to get the obvious, there's a clue here, there's a puzzle here, there's something here that's important. It may be where there's less obvious things. You have to be willing to look, or maybe they're going to overlook it several times thinking it's not important when it turns out it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, I would put that in a good ideas pile. Once again, on the caveat that it's not glowing green, like, that's obviously a puzzle, but whatever clue is indicating hit this doorknob, then yeah. Your mousetrap puzzle, I love this idea. I would love to do this escape room where it's just like we have to finish this project. We don't know much about the owner who wants us to complete the project, but I just know he needs this done right away. And if we can't get it done in 60 minutes, then we can't get paid. And then it turns out it's some like crazy old dude and he's trapped you in his contraption, and that's how he keeps on getting like his
dollies out.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that a lot. That would creep me out if I was in an escape room and that's how it ended. I like that. So good ideas pile. The Saw themed, we discussed that there are other Saw escape rooms, but there are also a lot of ultra realistic horror room experiences. There's a part of a documentary I watched about this one like haunted house, and it is just absolutely brutal. The shit they put you through, how they existed as long as they did, is like unbelievable. So there's a huge line that I will not cross with escape rooms. Like, I don't like super scary shit. I don't like it when actors can touch you. I like my escape room to be like, you're in this room and everything you need to do is either in this room or will be presented to you through clues and puzzles. If someone has to put their hands on me, that is not an experience I want to be in. Having the Saw theme, yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that. fake bodies and shit like that. That's fine. It would creep me out. I wouldn't be the one who puts my hands in there and digs out a key. I like the idea of someone planting something on you. I mean, it could be something so simple as the attendant is just like, oh, let me take your coats. I'll put them on the coat rack and then slip something into one of the coats or slip something into something. The only thing I could see that could be a problem is like liability issues. So if the attendant is slipping things into people's purses and that person then later says, oh, I had a 20 in there. You know, someone took my 20. It must have been the attendant who slipped this key in there. Then I could see how that would be a problem. But I like the idea. So it's in the ideas pile, very close to the good ideas pile. So that's my pilings, Alex.
Alrighty. So to go back to the old-timey candle, books and stuff like that. As one who typically has a waxed handlebar mustache, rides a penny farthing to work every morning, I love old-timey things. And any of you who don't know what a penny farthing is, it's the big bicycle with one giant wheel and the tiny wheel at the back.
How do you get on that?
Carefully.
There's a step.
No, just carefully. But still, as I'm riding my penny farthing to work, I often think about what objects I can manipulate in order to open secret doors and panels. I love this kind of stuff too. I've had so many escape rooms where you have the fake books. I've had ones where bookshelves open up into a secret room. I've had it where you go through the fireplace into a separate room, which is awesome. Anytime there's a candlestick opening into a secret room, I love it. I want to, if I ever have a better house for it, I would love to have a bookshelf that opens up to a secret room myself, to like where my office is. That it would be amazing.
Why don't you do that in your basement?
I only have one room that would kind of do it, and that room already scares me.
I'm talking about building a room in your basement and having a secret bookshelf that gets you in the back of that.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and yes, there is room for it. Yes, there's a spot you could put it in. I could already picture it in my mind. Don't worry. But I'm just saying,
this is an ideas all day project right there.
No,
yes.
No. I just don't got that kind of money.
That doesn't cost much.
You can figure it out on a budget.
Some 4x4s. Some plywood.
Yeah, but then you have to refinish the basement, because then you have like this unfinished basement all of a sudden with a bookshelf just sitting there.
Adds to the motif.
It could be empty shelves. We can just do shelving, like basement shelving.
It would potentially take away from my interrogation room motif that I've got going on down there. And I really don't appreciate that.
What? You got it.
You know what? It's my house. I can do what I want with it.
True.
To reiterate, the old-timey candle bookshelf, penny farthing, mustache wax, movable object, I'm 100% putting that in the good idea pile. Now moving on to the mousetrap pile. I love the concept. I think it's absolutely fantastic where you have this weird machine you're putting together. The only problem as I have is the mousetrap part of it. For, again, going back to something you said before, the liability. You're already locked in a room. You have to make sure people know that they can get out of that as well.
You can get around that. Because the machine doesn't necessarily have to be dropping a mouse cage onto you. It could still be a machine where when you press the button, it disables all the electronics in the room. And then you can't get out of the room because you don't have the passcode because you just ruined it yourself.
Or it could be made out of foam.
Or it could be made out of foam.
I like the idea, when you finish it and you press a big old button or something on it, that the people that are watching on the camera just flick a switch and turn everything off. And a few seconds later, turn around, I was like, yep, you did it.
This is a very disappointing one.
As a player, it might be disappointing because you're doing everything right.
Well, no, I don't know if
that's end of it. And then it's well, if I just sat here, I could have escaped just by waiting for time to run out.
But that's not escaping. You're still stuck there. Or you still haven't finished it or whatever.
That's how you beat the room. Is that if you don't finish this machine, the foreman comes back and fires you.
Yeah.
Kind of a ironic spin on things.
The goal is to finish the machine to escape the room or whatever you want to do.
That's
but the fact that you're subverting
thinking.
Exactly, which is why I love it. That whole concept portion of it, where it subverts your expectations of, every escape room is you're escaping a room. You're not escaping this room. You're getting yourself stuck in it. You're creating that situation,
which would be very frustrating, especially to the hardcore escape room people that they did everything quote unquote right. And they didn't escape.
We'd find out if we got those
I think you're getting
though.
too much into the semantics of escaping versus succeeding.
I still love this idea. Don't get me wrong.
I think it's fantastic.
But I can see why someone who paid money to do an escape room would be possibly disappointed and they find out that they've gotten themselves locked in the room.
I disagree entirely. I think it's when you have the expectation that you're just trying to escape room, you're doing that same puzzle, essentially, of escaping the room every single time. This is the one time where your success is actually a failure in a way. Not really a failure, but your success leads to something worse than what the failure state was. But you never would have expected that. You still have the feeling of success because you did the puzzles, you did everything you were supposed to, but you still got quote unquote stuck. As a player versus like someone, like if you're immersed in it, yes, you're going to be pissed off. If you're a player just trying to get through the puzzles, I think it's wonderful. I think it's taking a different avenue or, a different ending through the same avenue. And I think that's wonderful. I've been to another one. The success condition was slaying Dracula, where you literally had to plunge a stake into a fake Dracula.
Nice.
But I understand the success condition, but it's not an escape condition. Technically, like the whole thing was getting to a point where you ended up in his crypt. In the thematic sense of it, you could have walked out at any point in time. It doesn't have to be just escaping it. There is other things and other avenues you can go, both thematically, for puzzles, for endings. You don't have to stick it to the one formula just because it's called an escape room.
True that.
All right, and now I'm off my soapbox. But again, good idea, Pyle. I love it. The whole putting things together into a big machine that does something unexpected. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Never going to have a problem with that one. On to the other one. Although I'm not big into horror personally, still love the theme of it. But in terms of the key, because that's really what I latched onto when I was listening, that kind of planting an item on somebody. I like it, but I'm only going to put in the ideas pile only because two things. Yes, the liability that Kate mentioned, I didn't think about, and I thought that was a good point to bring up. But secondly, if you're planning it on someone, you have to have a reliable way to plant it every single time. Unless you have something you're handing off to players or taking from them to demonstrate something and then handing back, you don't know if you're always going to be able to slip something into someone's pocket. You're almost better off getting an accomplice out of them that has something walking into it, which almost like ruins that illusion for that person unless they know going into it. But to do that would be very difficult every single time, unless it's like one time where you got blindfolded at one point. You know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, that was that was up by you. That was me.
Yeah, where we got like handcuffed and blindfolded.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, we got basically blindfolded, handcuffed, and led into this room. During that period, you probably could do something. As you're leading them into the room, you're like, hit their back, and there's like a piece of Velcro that just attaches to their back in a way they may not realize. So it doesn't harm them. There's no bad thing, but they're never going to see it until like they take the blindfolds off and look behind them. It would have to be an early puzzle for that type of example because it'll show up at some point, but it would be difficult. So I have to put that one in the ideas pile just because of those elements of it. That's all I got.
Let's go over my ideas. So my first two ideas are based off of my experiences in escape rooms. I don't like when I walk in and there's just a bunch of obvious clues. I like having to look for things when one clue leads to looking at another thing in a different light. So two of my puzzles, they aren't like complete puzzles, but the one idea I had was the floor. A lot of times the floor space isn't really utilized, and if it was like a school themed escape room or a gym themed escape room, there's those foam floor pieces. That would be a really interesting place to like hide a clue or incorporate a pattern, and that pattern then is the clue to solving a different puzzle. Utilizing the floor would be kind of a neat idea. My next idea in the not so obvious clue ideas is there's these tables that instead of pulling apart the table and putting leaflets in, you spin them. And when you spin the table, it comes out and leaflets insert in like triangle pizza slices. And then you turn it the other way and then it becomes this larger table.
Can you say that again?
Sure. There are tables in the world where when you spin the tabletop pulls apart like pizza slices.
Okay.
So it's a round table. You spin it, the slices come out, and then you can like little leaves of other pizza slices pop into those spaces, and then you turn it back to make the table bigger.
Oh.
So I think that would be really cool to have in an escape room where, without knowing that table spins, that's not going to be a clue that you're going to find as soon as you walk in. That's going to be a clue that you have to be pointed in. So you have to complete the clues up to that point and not be able to skip ahead and completely miss that and still get out of the room. That would be a cool puzzle feature in an escape room. My next two ideas are not puzzle features, but kind of puzzle ideas. One of the selling points on escape rooms is that, it's good team building. It's a really good team builder. And I honestly can't imagine being in a room full of coworkers trying to do these kinds of escape rooms. I can see me with my friends because I know Ajax, she's the clue getter. Alex, you're the puzzle solver. I'm the person who wears the clothing and checks the pockets, and I put the combinations in. I thought it would be interesting if you're going in for team building that each of the participants have to fill out this little mini survey about themselves. Because what is team building but getting to know each other and solving problems together? My idea is that these participants fill out this little survey about themselves, and the answers to the surveys become the answers to the puzzles inside of the escape room. So it might be something like, to solve this puzzle, have the first letter of everybody's first name in order of age. And so you have to ask each other, like, when were you born? Or, when was your month of birth? Or, what's your name? Stupid shit like that. Like even something as simple as like, my favorite color is blue. It's like, okay, the answer to the puzzle is the majority's favorite color. And so you have to ask everybody, what's your favorite color? And it's like, it's forcing people to participate with each other. Because I've been in escape rooms when there's like a bunch of us, there might be like 10 to 12 people, and it's 4 people are doing the escape room and everybody else is just like sitting back like, well, what can I do? Did we do this? And they're just like kind of getting in the way. That's my idea. If you're going to do a team building one, it's a way to get everybody engaged in all the puzzles because the puzzles are about the group that's in the room. And it shouldn't be too difficult because the person who's doing the escape room, the company that's doing the escape room, has created the survey. So there's already so many options. Or it could be something true or false or multiple choice answers. So to input the information into the escape room wouldn't be that difficult for whoever's running the escape room. And then my last idea, I'm not a big fan of horror escape rooms. I'm not a big fan of really psychological, twisty, mindy things, but I love doing them. I don't like it, but I love subjecting other people to them. Call me crazy, I know. I'm kind of mean like that. So my idea was a feature of an escape room is that it's going to be, I don't know what kind of theme, like CIA undercover, spy, bank robbery, something like that. At some point in the game, the group's going to have to decide, and this can only work with like a group of 4 or more people or 3 or more people, because if it's anything less than that, it's not going to work. But at like midpoint of the game or 2/3 of the way into the game, the group has to decide which player they have to sacrifice in order to continue. They can't get into this room unless if there's only X amount of people. So they have to leave a person behind. And then once they leave whoever they decide behind, that person has their own individual puzzles that they can solve. And the twist is with that, the person that is left behind, they can either do these puzzles to help the group, give them either more time, more clues, give them extra hints, somehow help them progress. Or if they're a bitter bitch, they can do things to hinder the group from being successful. So like if you got pushed out, everybody's like, no, Becky, we don't like you. You stay behind. You're not helping. You're not a good puzzle solver. And if you feel some sort of way about that, you can then solve these puzzles to make it so that they can't unlock a lock for like 3 minutes, or they have to lose time, or they lose clues, or things like that. So those are my ideas.
All right. So on the first one, basically utilizing the floor as an additional element in a escape room.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. Again, I do agree that it isn't used as much. I've only seen it ever used like maybe a handful of times. To me, it's a little weird to use something like almost like it's a key under a mat element. If there was more things to it, I like the pattern part of it. Like you said, when you had like, oh, you've got these mats, they're in a pattern, but you may not realize it's something important till later. Yeah. I like that element. But if it's just something hiding under a mat, bleh. As an additional part, I think it's good. If it was merely just as an additional hiding spot, idea at best.
Okay.
On the spinning table thing with triangular leaves, I feel like this is at best idea going on bad because I feel it's in the wrong episode. Because we already did tables as an episode, and your triangle. I was trying to look it up as you were talking about it, and I only found one example, which looks really like interesting and nice, but nobody sells them. But I just feel it's in the wrong episode. It feels like it would take up so much space, where most of the times you're in an escape room, there's already limited space as it is to add these triangular leaf pieces that you have to spin around and do all this other stuff. I mean, I love the mechanism. I think it's cool, but it takes up so much space. I would almost think of it as a hindrance than something helping.
It would really depend on the size of the escape room.
Yeah,
because I've been in escape rooms that have been huge, and then I've been in escape rooms where it's like this is slightly bigger than a broom closet.
I just don't think it adds enough yet to it just on its own for its own sake. And again, I think it's just in the wrong episode. And that's all I really got to say about that. On the surface level, idea leaning towards bad. I'm not going to say bad because you can definitely do stuff with it. Just I don't feel it's developed enough. Moving on to your third idea, your kind of team building exercise with the puzzle solutions being information from the participants. I would actually put this probably in the bad ideas pile because God forbid I ever did anything with my coworkers and try and learn more about them. They already drive me up a wall, and no, I'm just kidding. I love them, but still, it seems like a lot of effort. It's almost like you really can't go there without a lot of prep work, and you almost kind of ask the question, why do I need these? It almost leads into you have to, this is going to come up.
Correct. It wasn't supposed to be like a surprise.
Yeah. I would rather just go, if I had to spend time with my coworkers, just go get a beer or get some food or something and, just converse.
Well, that's after the escape room. You get a beer.
Yeah, so you can talk. That's like a conversation topic.
No. We're already going to be hitting each other by the end of this escape room because we don't work together, in an efficient manner. And, we're already yelling and screaming at each other, and then we hate each other, and before we know it, we're all looking for updating our resumes and looking for a new employment because of this escape room. I hope you're happy. I hope you are proud of what you've done.
I hope you're happy.
You've ruined my relationship with my coworkers because of what your suggestion asked of us. And I don't even know what to say. I am lost for words. I mean, God forbid you had this with families. It would destroy families. You would have divorces. You would have broken homes.
You like the color blue? All this time, I thought you were a purple fan.
Exactly. Then all of a sudden you thought it was blue, it turns out it's purple. What else are they hiding? They do spend a lot of time with their secretary or Jimmy from the mail room. He's only 10 years younger and he works out. But, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to earn money for this family to try and support us. But I'm sorry, I can't go spend my extra time, working out like Jimmy from the mail room. I'm sorry, I'm not good enough as Jimmy is.
I feel like you're being personally attacked right now, and no one's personally attacking you.
I think you're personally attacking.
Jimmy, if you're listening to this,
it's okay, Jimmy. It's okay.
Jimmy, he does not speak for all of us. I would love to get to know you better and listen about your gym routines.
I'm gonna find you out back, and I'm gonna kick your butt. I'm sick of you spending so much time with my wife.
I just don't think you like Jimmy. I feel like if it was Alan in the mailroom,
don't you
be like Alan is great.
What if it was Alan?
Alan can sleep with my wife anytime. Alan has it's like, when you have that celebrity, you said, if I get the opportunity to sleep with that, the list, Alan would be on the list. If he's on there, I can't argue it, and I respect that.
But
Jimmy's not on the list. I don't care if Jimmy was put on the list afterwards. He's tearing this family apart.
So wait, do you put this in the good? What pile did you put this in?
This is the bad ideas pile because of Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy,
Yeah, and you know
idea
what?
for me.
And you know what? The worst part is my kids like Jimmy better.
So you're just jealous of Jimmy.
No, I'm not jealous of
You're
Jimmy.
just jealous of Jimmy.
No,
Sounds
That's
like
why
you have jealousy issues
I feel
I'm
like
with
you're
not
Jimmy.
jealous
of
of Jimmy.
All I'm saying is Jimmy is trying to weasel his way into my wife's pants, and I'm not having it.
Oh,
I'm not having it.
It's okay, Jimmy. We feel you out there.
No.
Okay,
not
so
having it.
that
Poor
was your second
Jimmy.
one. So that was the the idea
So
pile.
going back to that, I would actually, I'm gonna have to, I'll put in the bad ideas file, strictly for Jimmy purposes, and on to the next one, the sacrificial player. I really like this idea. When I was looking at my ideas, I thought of similar, not exactly the same, but similar ideas in terms of that. And I really like the idea of having almost a person either whether get pulled out separately or, during the course of that to whether help or hinder. I really like that idea. You took it a step even further than I even thought of, which I thought was great. I'm going to put it squarely in the good ideas pile. Even though it's kind of weird, you can take it in certain ways. I don't know how the experience of that person getting taken out would be, but I like the idea overall and the concept of it. I think is really good, and I'm going to put in the good ideas pile.
Yeah, I like the idea that the group that's in there makes the experience. Because if you're in a group and you have that person who's like, guys, Ajax is obviously the better clue getter. Alex is the better puzzle person. Let me go. You guys go forth. And then I get pulled out. I'm more likely to help you guys. But if the group is like a catty little group of high schoolers that just are, no, Johnny needs to go because I like John, or, you like Johnny. So, you have to go and it should be me and Johnny in the next room. And then, Becky's back there like, okay, bitch, you like Johnny so much. Let's see if you can do this. So I kind of like it that you make the experience either positive or negative. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
I really enjoy it. I think it's great. It would be difficult to do in a way, but conceptually, I love it. I think it's great.
Is this my turn?
Now it's your turn, yeah.
Yes.
My turn to do the ideas. All right. So for Kate's first idea of floor space, school, gym, like the foam floor thing, where you try to hide the clues in the foam floor. I mean, this is an idea. I like using the floor activities. I'm going to put this in the idea pile because I got stuck on the foam floor idea where, you can see after a while the foam floor is like crinkling. So after years of use, you see the foam floor like cracking and it might be. I feel like it's an idea that we're using the floor and I like that idea, but just the foam things that we're using, that might be an expense.
That is something that I was thinking about. Luckily, foam flooring isn't too expensive, but I can see that after a couple of times and wears and tears, especially if you're using like different colored floor tiles, that it's slowly going to wear away where people are going to be like, that's something weird about that floor. They've ripped that floor up one too many times and kind of gives away the clue. So
the foam floor is already breaking. Yeah. So no, I mean, I like it. The next one is the table with the leaflet table. Since I still really have no idea what this thing is, I think it's a lovely collector's item that antique people like to collect. So if you happen to be an antique person that has one of these and also knows somebody who has an escape room, this is a lovely idea.
I don't think they're antiques.
Okay, so this non-antique
like a
thing.
New table thing.
New age. If you're a new age person who has one of these leaf tables, then this might be the opportunity for you to use your leaf table in an escape room. Do it now. This is a good idea.
1-800.
1-800 leaf tables.
ESCAPE 7.
It
or
sounds
Escape 7.
It sounds like we're soliciting people for their tables. Listen, this would be a really good idea. We want to start an escape room. Can we have your table?
We just need your table.
Give us your table, please.
Please mail your table at ideasallday@gmail.com.
Yeah, so I feel like this is a good idea if you have one of those tables.
Yeah.
Use it. So team building survey. It's an idea.
Now, are you hesitant about it because you don't like team building, or are you hesitant about it because you don't want your coworkers to know what your favorite color is?
I don't know how it's going to be used, the thing. Like, I might forget it by the time the puzzle comes around.
you're answering questions about yourself truthfully. So when they're like, to solve this puzzle, the combination is how many people like red, how many people like blue, how many people like purple. So everybody has to go around and ask each other, okay, all the red people on this side, all the blue people over there, and all the purple people over there. It's forcing you to interact with your coworkers.
That makes
you're
sense.
learning.
I get that. That makes sense. If you change that into lock combinations, how are you going to change your lock combination instantaneously?
It could be digital locks.
Digilocks.
And they just have to like type in into the computer or something, and then whoever's
Oh.
controlling the room will unlock the next clue.
Okay. So now I will definitely put it in the idea pile. And then the last one where the other person is a spy, or like where you, in the spy ones, you have the group decides who you got to leave behind.
Yeah.
Or, to go into the unknown world of the next challenge or whatever it is. I like
The
this
unknown
idea.
world.
Woohoo.
Because it's like the MTV challenge where they had to go into like purgatory, but then purgatory really was like you had to defeat somebody else in order to be the winner, and then you had to be the winner to go into the next level. So I'm a big fan of all things MTV the challenge.
One thing I do like about that idea, not that I came up, as you were saying, is that the almost like, in a sense, a replayability of the room, because you've already played one type of role the first time you did it. You've never finished the other side of it. I kind of like that, where it makes it both as a room runner, but also someone who's a player. There's merit to almost go back after a few months, and once you forget what the puzzles were, or if they move them around a little bit, like some of the combos.
I like
And
that.
also, I was just thinking about this too. It could also be like the game might not be over for that person that gets isolated. It could be that if they solve enough puzzles, they can meet up back with the group in the next room somehow too.
And also, like, they can be solving puzzles for the overall goal as well. So you're not
Yes.
just like, guess what I did in the underworld? Solve puzzles, and I got you this, 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 and this. Suck it.
Or
Yeah.
they can be the one that says, I solved this many puzzles. That means you can't win, but I do win.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I escape.
So that's like
and
other
you
suck
don't.
it.
Yeah.
That's like a nice little twist. I like
Yeah.
that. Even
Once-
better.
Once my wife and Jimmy kick me into the other room, I can really screw them over after they start making out in the other room or whatever it is they were doing.
Or it could be that like only one group can succeed. So then it becomes like a team versus team situation. So if you have like, instead of just one person getting pulled out, maybe you have like a 4-person room. 2 people go ahead this way and 2 people have to go ahead that way. And based on the puzzles that you're solving, whoever solves the most puzzles the fastest, they're the ones who can escape, but the other team can escape and they get left behind. Ooh, that's even more devious.
And then they actually can't
Devious.
leave, and the only way they're let out is if another group of players try and come there.
No,
So they're actually left there.
That's a little much. Because, there's usually time limits on that. And besides, how am I going to get to the bar to have drinks with Jimmy and talk about our escape room experience?
Right.
Jimmy can go screw himself.
Did he, like, hurt Alan or something? Did he, like...
Poor
Don't bring
Jimmy.
Alan to this. Don't bring Alan to
Is
this.
he
Alan's
Alan's
already
best
here.
friend? Is that
No,
why you're upset with
I'm
Jimmy?
Alan's best friend.
Oh, this has to do with
This has nothing to do
that.
with Alan.
Oh, this goes deeper.
Oh, this is so deep.
You're just
right
bringing
now.
Alan into this. He has nothing to do with this.
Alan
It's because
usually has to do
Jimmy
with
is
everything.
Alan's best friend and you want to be Alan's best friend. This has nothing
Shut
to
up.
do with your wife.
This is everything to do with my wife. She's a bitch.
She's a red
No.
herring.
Ooh.
Oh,
No.
goodness.
Alan has nothing to do with this. Don't you ever bring up his name. Don't
Alan
sully
Alan
his
comes up all the time.
Alan is
reputation.
like up all the time.
Alan is the 4th member of this podcast.
Little does he know, he's not aware of this fact.
Did we thank our listeners?
Yeah, no, we need to thank our
We still have to
listeners
thank
for
our
Thanks,
listening.
listeners. See us on
Yeah, I
MySpace.
guess. Thank you. Whatever.
Yeah,
YouTube.
no, please subscribe, like, comment, share on all of the major podcast platforms. You don't care which one you use: Apple, Spotify, Pandora, MySpace, Facebook. We now have an Instagram account. So
we have a Facebook account too.
we have a Facebook account. So please visit. If you have any fan art of any of our ideas you would want to
Art.
share, feel free to email us at ideasallday podcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening and spending time with us.
Thank you for joining us today.
Next time you guys are in an escape room, try to think if our ideas would work out. And if you're an escape room artist, so to speak, feel free to use the ideas and let us know how they work out.
We will test out the escape rooms.
If you implement our ideas into your escape room, please let us know. We would love to visit your escape room. When, I don't know, but we would love to visit and try out your escape room.
Absolutely.
If you aren't using our ideas, but you have an escape room that you think we would love, please
We'll
let
try
us
it
know.
anyway.
We're big fans of escape rooms.
We'll pay to enter the room.
We
depending
will.
on how much it is.
Yes.
If it's
But-
really expensive, we might have to combine money.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think the Saul experience was super expensive.
Yeah.
But
Well,
hey,
especially if they use goopy things.
yeah, no, we're really big escape room fans. Not so much that we go to conventions or create our
Yeah,
own.
that's crazy.
That's too much work.
But yeah,
Okay.
thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.